Hello, I'm Thomas.
I'm Brittany.
I'm Garett.
I'm Sarah.
And this is our video for our snaps for our pediatric lab day. We had a child who has a diagnosis of Down syndrome. He is 5 years old and he is adopted. So kind of the initial difficulty with this child is we weren't sure of his first few years of life because he was adopted by a family here in Bismarck. And the family stated that he was abandoned for the first few years of his life, so we don't really know some of the details of those years. And they stated that he was also left with little movement capabilities from the orphanage they got him from, so he was basically left in a crib for a while. He does have a congenital hand disorder on his left hand, so he has very little finger tissue, and he does have movement of his wrist, however, so that created some interesting problems that we decided to face in our intervention strategy. Yeah.
So the main problems with this child that we have considered are his decreased balance for a single leg stance, which is contributing to using mark time going up and down the steps. He has a hard time doing like a bilateral grasp due to that congenital hand deformity of larger objects. He has just like general ligament laxity, but we noticed it mainly in his feet as he's very pronated. And then with that congenital hand, he underutilizes his left hand, and we've noticed that he doesn't like to cross midline. So this is something we want to address in our intervention. And then overall, as a group, we decided his main problem that we want to work on is his impairment in single leg stance.
As Garett stated before, some of the uncertainty is we just don't know what his prior life was, his first 3 years of life, which could play a factor. He began walking at 4 years old, so we don't know how fast his motor milestones were soon to develop. With our intervention strategy, we have some uncertainties about how well he's going to imitate the yoga and the dancing with motor movements. When our previous session, we used dancing and songs, and he mimicked it very well because he knew them, so we were just unsure how he'll respond if he doesn't know the music or the movement patterns.
So kind of going off what Brittany said, we plan to try to incorporate some different intervention strategies using dance-like play and using yoga, most likely to music, or try to incorporate it into some type of game, which hopefully will improve adherence and help the patient like it a little more, so it feels less like physical therapy and a little more like just playing. So that's kind of our main focus right now, is just to try and make everything as play-like as possible.
A case-related issue that we are going to self-study is that congenital hand disorder, the underdeveloped hand. We're going to look into some research on maybe some possible etiology with that, and also some further treatment. It really arose in our exam when we were looking at bilateral grasp. He really didn't know how to utilize that hand, so we're going to look at some interventions to hopefully integrate the use of the hand and try to get some increased bilateral grasp strength. This is especially evident with larger objects, so that might be something we look into, is larger objects picking up from the floor or from a shelf of some sort.